Hi, and hello, my beautiful gardening friends. So good to see you here. We are in kind of it's like a month day. Oh, sorry. I have sorry, I'm having a total echo here. Oh, there it is. Bye bye, channel. Okay, sorry about that. That is like a rookie error, but we are back and we're good. I was saying we had kind of uh, what is going on with my computer? Okay, I hope everyone was still able to be here. I hate when we get these kind of things right at the beginning because it kind of throws my thought process off, but that's okay. We're gonna get through all of this. Anyway, I will go back to how I started this. I was saying we have kind of a cloudy, uh, nothing very exciting happening outside. We had torrential rain last night and through to this morning. So I think, Chris, can you hear me now? I see that you couldn't hear me. I think I have put everything back on after that refresh. Awesome. Thank you. Let me just say a quick hello because that gets me started in a better vein because I like seeing you all so much. Robin, always good to see you, my dear. Trudy, thank you for being here. Mel, wonderful to have you. Robin, Mel, we got a lot of chit chat going on, which I just love. Excuse me. Chris is here and Andrew. Hello, Andrew, Leanne, Margaret Alice, Siggy, Pauline. Oh, look at this. We got a nice full house. I always look forward to just having a chat with you all. And I know you're all such good gardeners that um it's just wonderful. Oh, Mandy, hello. I did want to say this to start off. I watched some gardening videos. Hello, Nicola, or excuse me, Nicola. Sorry, I know better than that. Um, I watched a few gardeners that I'd never watched before. I just try to keep a little abreast of what's going on, and a few of them were giving out really questionable advice. So I guess I want to say to you, be a little careful what you hear. I mean, sometimes people think just because you have a YouTube channel, you're like an expert. And I try always to say, if I don't know the answer to something, either I'll go do some research on it and see if I can come up with something that makes sense, or I just say, wow, I don't know. You need to talk to someone who knows more. Just be careful because some of the stuff I think that is really bad advice. Um, so I just want to make sure you don't all um, falling. Oh, hi, Pammy. Good to see you. Um, yeah, so just be a little careful. I'm not dissing anybody. I'm not just sometimes the advice is not I don't think it's thought through, and I'm not sure that they're talking from their own advice or they're talking because they heard it somewhere else. So anyway, just be careful out there. Um, so yesterday was a big day of starting uh my fall garden. Nicola, I wish I could. Uh I know we have not gotten as much rain as many other parts of the world have, but yesterday, I mean, our street was flooded. Uh the systems just couldn't keep up with how fast and how heavy it was coming down. It's been a while since I've uh, seen that much rain come down that quickly. But here's what I love. Like tomorrow when I go out into the garden, everything will be like a foot taller because there's nothing like a good actual rain to help our plants uh, grow really big. So I'm very happy. And Nikolai, I wish I had that kind of power, but I can't make it rain and I can't make it stop. So, and you're probably very glad that I can't because uh, goodness knows how that would work out. Um, yeah, I think there's some people that agree that yeah, there's some dodgy advice. And again, also, Dusty Flats is saying longtime gardeners have changed their ways sometimes. Absolutely, I will if I hear something that sounds like that might be a better thing. Um, I'll try it, but I won't necessarily offer it advice until I see that it works and it's something that I have experience with myself. Or I will say, go watch this video by this person. Interesting concept over there. So that's all. I'm just trying to, um, I try to be very careful about what I say and what I don't say. Yes, Mel, I agree, but the weeds grow as well. I filmed a full garden tour yesterday and uh, was shocked at the amount of weeds that I saw because, we had just done this whole thing for this wedding. And I mean, there was not a weed in the house. And filming, sometimes when you film a video, you notice things that you don't notice when you're just walking around the garden. I have so many weeds. I couldn't believe it. And they came up out of nowhere. But with this heat, and I've been running my irrigation because it's been so incredibly hot. The weeds are completely enjoying that, and taking up a nice residence. Uh, so yeah, I totally agree with growth of our plants that we want, we get all the ones that we don't want as well. Oh, my water butts, and I guess we call them what do we call them? Water. I don't think it start with water. Anyway, we don't call them water butts over here. However, mine are kind of spilling over. They're so full. But it's lovely because I use that water when we fertilize, so that the fertilizers is put in um, a a watering can, and we can fertilize a little more directly. But I love using the rainwater because it's plants just love it. They just love it. Uh, Polymorphs and the slugs come out. Yes, they do. Now, here's some really good advice. This is Stephen from Urban White Buffalo Farm. Fact check or else keep still. The US has so many growing zones, and each one has its limits, and that is the first hurdle in the research process. Absolutely. Um, that's why I won't give it out unless I've tried it and it works for me. and uh, and especially from the U.S. I mean, most of us know. Well, I should say most of us who've been gardeners know that if I get advice from a California gardener, I've got to take that with just I have to factor it through my growing seasons because my growing conditions are not necessarily their growing conditions. And I think even in the UK, which is where I think a lot of our listeners are, uh, you may only have like one zone, but there's so many microclimates that everything, you have to learn what your gardening space likes and doesn't like, or what it can withstand and what it can't withstand. I mean, even on I have a bed that's on the back of my garage, but it's a south facing wall. So the heat that it gets there and the heat that it retains is so much more than anything just even 4 feet away that's in a bed that's not up against the wall. But that's a microclimate where I know I can grow. And I think actually next year I'm going to grow okra there just because I think it will just love that heat. Um, but yeah, you kind of have to know your growing conditions. And I think my tomatoes are so much happier not being there because I think it was too hot for them. I thought it was the fact that I'd been growing them for a while in that bed, and I thought maybe, they need to be, uh, put somewhere else. Well, now that I have them in my area that I call the back 40, so it's in ground, and they're growing up trellises rather than these strings that I had for them to grow up. They are beautiful. They are not at all as spindly and, uh kind of sad looking that they used to get back there. They would produce great tomatoes, but the plants did not flourish. They appear to be flourishing in the new space that I have them. So you gotta really think through what else is happening. Uh, Hi, Allie. Oh, I hope your tomatoes have stopped. Allie, from the right pear plot had blight hit, and I think she has over 150 tomato plants. So I'm hoping I did see some more going into a garbage bin, and I'm so sorry. Uh, but I hope that maybe that has slowed up down a little bit. Hello, Rob. Welcome. Uh, oh yeah, she got hammered with blight. Very sad. So let me just tell you what I started sewing yesterday. Well, not what I started, what I completed sewing yesterday. Let me find my little note that I made. Oh, almost had it. There it is. I started, these are things that obviously I want for my fall garden. Uh, and I checked, I have about 99 days until frost really becomes an issue. Let me just finish that off and I'll go back and look at questions. I love your questions, so I get caught up in those. So anyway, I started fennel, which I have found does not bolt very often when you plant it into the um, last half of the season. After the longest day. I have two ornamental cabbage slash kale plants, and I don't know if you've seen these. I think everyone's probably seen them. I've never grown them before, but they have it's like a two-tone kale cabbage that's kind of open, so it looks almost like a flower. So I'm trying two varieties of that. One has uh, like deep, almost beet leaves on the outside, and then a deep red center. And the other one has light green on the outside and like a pink center. So I just think that's kind of fun. I'm going to give that a try. Uh, Oh, Pammy, I know. Pammy's saying it's scary how we're thinking of frost. Well, unfortunately, it's already July 24th today, which kind of freaks me out a little bit because I feel finally like I'm kind of comfortable with where the garden is. So either it flew or I just was a slow um, person getting stuff out, which I will blame a lot for the weather or on the weather. I have two radicchio varieties started. I love the bitterness of radicchio in salads and in other. I also use those to stuff instead of cabbage. I will stuff a radicchio leaf because I love that little bit of bitterness. I've started some beets, turnips. I direct sowed 4 varieties of carrots, which I'm hoping will enjoy growing into the cooler weather. Um, I need to, in the next, maybe in the next month, get my overwintered onions started. I might actually do that sooner. I need to think that one through because I've never, this year was the first year I was ever able to overwinter an onion, and I'm tickled pink. And that might be one of the only onions I grow next year because it was so easy. And you know how much room onions take up when you're starting them from seed um, early. They can really take a lot of space. So I think I'm going to really enjoy just using the overwintered ones. And what else was I thinking? There was something else I need to sow. Well, there's a lot of things, but anyway, that's what I've got in already. So they're under the lights. They're moving. Uh, I think we're all feeling how fast things are going. Andrew said it, like time is flying. Dusty Flats, time is going fast. I can't tell if it's because we're so busy and we live in this world where like everything happens and you find out immediate. There's like this immediate. It almost feels like we're addicted to immediate information, and I can't tell if that like affects how fast because we're packing so much more into our days. Um, I don't know. Just sometimes I think about that kind of stuff. Like, what are we doing that maybe is helping um, make time feel like it's? I don't know. I'm not a philosopher. I'm not going to go down that road. Leanne has a question for the group. Um, does anyone use a UV sleeve? Any brand you would recommend? Bonus points for something I don't have to pay duty on to Canada. I keep getting ads for Farmers Defense. So does anybody use those cool gardening sleeves? I actually have gotten so easily burned this last year, or not this spring when the sun was barely out, that I purchased these. These are bamboo shirts that I can wear, and my arms are covered. My back of my neck is covered. They're light. They look like they're not, but they are like so light and stretchy and comfortable. And I guess it's kind of like wearing a sleeve, but it's a whole shirt. But I think those sleeves, I think even for stuff you have to pick that's a little bit prickly, I think those would probably be nice to wear. But I don't know if anybody else in the chat has anything to say about that. Uh, yeah, I'm hoping. Chris is talking about how the weather has just been. Yeah, I'm hoping the fall season might be a little more predictable because here's what we do know: it's going to get colder. Um, Might get colder faster now. Not quite sure about that, so I'm gonna be watching for that one. Um, but I'm hoping that the weather's gonna be a little less crazy, and I'm hoping to get some of the spring things that I haven't been able to grow or wasn't able to grow this year, that I can get them again in the fall. We had such a great pea harvest in the spring. I would love to replicate that in the fall, so I'm gonna think about, but, here's the funny thing, my cucumbers haven't even started producing yet because I got everything in so late. So, I still have to let some of the summer things, get moving, so I might actually start things like my peas, inside so that I can let the cucumbers go as long as they will before I pop those in. Um, okay. So, yeah, Major Dog, is saying, "I always wear a shirt to protect myself from the sun." And the midgies, and I think midgies are like mosquitoes, right? Only they're littler. They're like those little nippy, I think it's important that I know when I was younger, I never really thought about it, throw on a little sunscreen 'cause, I was slathering the children, so I'd throw a little bit on. But, for those of us that have very pale complexions, guilty of that, I think it's really important to protect ourselves from the sun because, like it or not, or, have opinions about global climate change, it doesn't really matter. The sun is very strong right now, and I think it, is just wise to give ourselves a little protection, from those rays that, are just they want to, hurt our skin. I don't think they want to, I think they just do. So, I think it's a good idea. Oh, Robin is oh gosh. Okay, that would be horrifying. Midgies are hardcore mosquito-like monsters that come in thick waves. Oh my goodness. And where did I see Robin? Robin had a comment on these too. Oh, we have midgies up in Wisconsin by the lake. You feel that you breathe them in. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think those are the things that I see at night when it's really hot and they kinda just fly around and you can see them if you have any lights out in your garden, and they're just everywhere. Uh, uh, yeah, my doorbell's going. I don't know what that's about. Not expecting anyone. So we're just gonna let that go. Uh, oh, wow. Yes. Oh my goodness, I'd almost wear, like, I don't know. Yeah, I think you need to definitely protect that because that part of your skin is gonna be super, sensitive to sun. Um, okay, what else? So, are any of you let me ask you this because we have had such a weird, like, we're not in midsummer yet. I think we're pretty close, but we're not in midsummer because 'cause we've only been into it for a month. So, I think it's, like, mid-August is, like, midsummer. Are any of you looking forward to the fall? And I know a lot of you in more temperate climates don't really talk about a fall garden, you more talk about what you're putting in for the winter because you can grow things all the way through. Are any of you looking forward to that second planting, hoping that maybe you'll get some things that you couldn't get in the spring garden? I mean, that's what I'm really looking forward to, is some of the things that I lost because of all the rain and all the heat and, all of that. I'm just looking forward to actually being able to grow some fennel, and not just grow it, but harvest some. We love fennel here, and, unable to even try getting it in the spring, because sometimes you can sneak in a small harvest, in the spring. You just don't let the bulbs get quite as big as they would, if you grow them in the fall, but I couldn't even there was no way to even get those in this year. So, what does so what do you think? Are you looking forward to that? Or are you looking forward to tidying up the garden and starting again next year? Sometimes that's also, a good mental health activity, is to just say, this was a year, there's next year, and I'm gonna try again. Oh, wait, I don't think. Oh my goodness, I've lost. I am so far behind. Uh, oh, hi, Laura. Uh, yeah, you're welcome to be late if you were out there picking peas in the rain. I'm just excited that you could still have peas. That's lovely. Robin is hoping for cabbage, radishes, and fennel, maybe more peas too. Yeah, I didn't even grow radishes, and I love French breakfast radishes. So, yeah, those, and I'll just direct sow those. I'm just hoping the carrots that I direct sowed are gonna survive, but yesterday, man, they got beat with water, so I'm hoping they will come up. But I still have enough time to almost grow any kind of carrot, so I'm looking for places with shade that I can hopefully get them going, and then they'll grow lovely. Also with my lettuce bed, everything really started to bolt, and so I'm just gonna cut those down to about 2 inches. I'm not taking them out, and I'm gonna sow heat-resistant lettuce in between, uh, those rows, and see if I can't get that to germinate in this heat, so that I can have some for the summer and into fall. Oak Hill Farms, wait a minute, I gotta get back up to that one. Oak Hill Orchard Farm, oh, that sounds beautiful. Brassicas for this winter and next spring, and they'll be planted out very soon. Lovely. Yeah, it's like the brassica, it went really hot so quickly. Um, Sheila, hello, Sheila. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sheila's saying, I'm trying peas, beans, spinach, and cabbage. Honestly, if anything gives me a harvest, I'll be over the moon. You're in Ireland. You should talk with Laura from the Tiny Garden. She's over in Ireland as well, and is able to grow like so much in her tiny garden. It's just lovely. Um, Allie forgot to harvest her radish today. Well, I'm glad we could remind you. And yes, I noted that you said you're looking forward to 2025 uh, tomato season. And I hope that you're able to, maybe every year they'll come out with new varieties that maybe could be um, a little more blight resistant. I do hope that for you. And I do want to ask you, what do you do with 150 tomato plants worth of tomatoes? I just need to ask that because I thought I grew a lot of tomatoes, and I grow about 17, 18 maybe 20 plants depending on the year. And I mean, I preserve a whole lot of tomatoes. So I was just curious what you would do with that. You just must be the tomato lady and you give them out to every person you see on the street. I don't but if I saw you coming, I would sure go, "Yeah, I'll have some of those." Oh, I yes, I missed a few of these. Mandy, hi Mandy. I have a whole new bed to plant up. Just can't get my head around what to plant. Any suggestions? My first question would be, where are you located? Because that will probably help any of us give you thoughts on what to plant. But I think almost anywhere that you are, you're pretty wide open for what to plant. Uh, I saw something from there's Jersey Dave. He's planting out Chinese cabbage and other orientals. They grow well here over the winter. Absolutely. Yes, and I actually have some growing right now and they're doing beautifully and I don't understand it cuz it's so hot. But they're doing really well. Okay, now Pauline, you're going to have to help me with looking forward to September, going to Skyathos. Okay, I'm going to show my geographic ignorance here. Just based on what it looks like, is that in Greece? And I could be absolutely incorrect there. Yeah, tell us where that is. Maybe everybody else in the chat knows. Because remember, when from the United States we go anywhere over in Europe, it's like a huge trip. Like you don't want to do it for less than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because it's just a lot to get over there, and you know, and I know that sometimes when you're like in the UK, you can pop over somewhere for almost like a long weekend, which I'm kind of envious of, but I guess that's what we do to another state over here. We pop over there for a long weekend. Um, but I imagine all the countries over there are just, I mean, I've only been there. Well, I shouldn't say I've been to the UK a lot. I've been to other ones just occasionally, but it's always it's always lovely. Okay, we got a whole bunch of comments. Uh, Dusty Flats is debating to dig potatoes to have more room, but they actually aren't collapsed yet. I would just here's my thought. I would just pot up whatever you're trying to put in their place, let them grow on a little bit longer, and after you've given this much room to potatoes, um, if you can keep the other stuff kind of moving along, while you're still giving them that space, uh, I would try that. Or if you don't really need a lot of potatoes, I guess dig them up, right? That's the beauty of it. When we're growing them ourselves, we can decide. Like, I want to do this instead. Yeah, I actually think, Robin, next year I'm only going to grow a few varieties of spring lettuce because if next year is any indication of this year, we really moved into summer really fast. So I may not even bother. Let's see, there's a bunch more. Okay, Chris is looking forward to starting things in the autumn, fall, and we'll progress from there. I'm finding it difficult to get rid of unwanted plants this year and keep plants needed this year alive. Yeah, I wish weeds, I guess a weed is only a plant that we don't want where it is, but I wish they could produce something that we actually wanted. Wouldn't that be lovely? Oh, I like that. Found a 45-day cabbage. That is fantastic. Nice. And that probably likes the spring weather, right? Um, yeah, those quick growing cabbages, get them in, get them out. Love it. What, could you share the variety with us? Because I bet a lot of people might be interested in that. Uh, Margaret Alice is looking forward to planting spinach and pak choi. We grow loads in the spring, but have to ease off in the height of summer because they bolt. Absolutely. Got to get my purple sprouting broccoli in the ground soon. Yes, I wish I could overwinter something like that. But I'm thrilled that I can overwinter an onion because that was never something that we could do. And I've almost kind of given up on growing spinach. I just think I need to put it out when there's still snow on the ground, like plant it out and then uh, let it worry about itself. Actually, maybe in a winter sowing container, that might be wonderful. I'm really going to lean into that next year. We had so much success with it this year. I'm like scrounging for every water gallon water jug I can get or gallon milk jug I can get off anyone because I'm really going to lean in. It's so nice not to have to, worry about watering and worry about indoor gnats. Uh, wow. Okay. Steven is saying 150 tomato plants, tomato sauce, taco sauce, spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce. Yeah, absolutely. I made for the first time an enchilada sauce that was so good. I canned up maybe, I don't know, dozen, 18 jars of it. Oh my goodness, it is so good, and it will work great as a chili starter sauce that, this year I'm gonna lean a little bit heavy into that because, oh my goodness, we had it the other night with dinner, and it was just spectacular. Really smoky and, mm, so good. Yeah, I love canning up tomatoes for the long haul. Hi, George. It's okay that you're late. It's just fine. Glad you're here. What is with my computer? It's just giving me the darn runaround today. Oh, it's a Greek island. Okay, I was close. I was at least in the right vicinity, right? Uh, Hi, Charla. So nice to have you here. Okay, Mandy is in the east of England. So I'm gonna say, all of you that are in the east of England right now, can you give Mandy some suggestions for what she can be starting? I imagine I would look for short, um, like a short day carrot or short day. You could grow lettuces. I don't know if that's your thing. In 99 days, at least, well, I don't know when your frost is, but you could even get like a small potato harvest going. No, I think you could pretty much grow anything. But I'd love it if those from the east of England could um, pop in here and tell her because that would be much closer to reality. Uh, Chris is still clearing their allotment and covering so I can get a good start for next year. I have a huge area which I took over in March this year. Oh, okay. Yeah, some of those, we don't have the allotment, program over here, but sometimes when I see, like, when people take on an allotment, wow, it's just been neglected for a long time. So it seems like they maybe don't get it. Well, maybe they get overgrown like that before the person gives up the allotment. But yeah, there's definitely a curve to getting that ready. But how nice that you'll have such a good growing space for next year. Um, and here we have Oak Hill Orchard Farm again. Good time to sow chicory. Yes. And over here we call chicory and radicchio. There's a lot of um, crossover between those two terms. But yeah, it's a beautiful time. They love growing into the cool weather. And they get bitter, but they don't get bitter like a radish in the middle of the summer. It doesn't get hot like that. It's just lovely. Uh, I can't tell if this is that might be just a little private conversation. Well, this is Charla, and she said last year I did about 100 tomatoes. I gave a lot away, made sauce and juice, and froze it. Nothing like it because it still tastes like a garden tomato, right? And that's what we all want in the middle of winter, rather than those store-bought mealy ones. Ah, let's see. I'm looking forward to next spring. This is Margaret Alice. She's looking forward to next spring, picking my recently sown spring winter greens, brassicas. First time I'm growing it, but have bought it in shops for many years. Pre- Prefer that to actual cabbage. Okay. Well, there's so many like leafy cabbages that don't head up that are just they're just lovely. I'm probably growing my best kale in a long time, and I'm realizing one of the tricks, at least for me, against the cabbage white is to grow purple brassicas. And here's my completely unscientific theory about that. I think they're attracted to the green cabbage because their offspring are green as a caterpillar. So I imagine there's some sort of uh, disguise in that, or gives them a little more freedom. But I'm finding, because right now I have some, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I have some out there without netting, without anything, and there is like no damage. So I might be onto this completely, um, I don't know, what do they call it? Old wives' tale theories. I have no science behind this decision, just from my personal experience. Oh, and we're talking about dehydrated tomatoes, which is kind of like the sun-dried tomatoes that I'm growing 3 of those Principe borghese plants that are going absolutely crazy. Um, and I will get, oh my gosh, I can't even think about how many sun-dried tomatoes I would get from that. And I sun dry them in my dehydrator. So it's very, it's kind of a controlled deal. Um, Although right now I could probably sun dry a few out in that sun we have, but I don't want to. I kind of don't want what else goes with, um, drying them outside. But yeah, I think sun dried tomatoes are one of the best ways to save tomatoes. Uh, Chris is saying the nettles are doing well for fertilizer, but need plants to fertilize. Oh, well, can't you make? I always see like people making soup out of nettles, and I mean like fertilizer soup. Uh, that I'm not. How can I put this? I'm not a fan of those really stinky, horrible solutions. So I just chop and drop my stuff. I have some comfrey that we harvest, and we just chop and drop it because I just am not going to make those. I know when I see grown men almost crying because of how bad it smells, I mean, I think, wow, that's got to be smelling quite horrifying. Um, if they need to wipe their eyes while they're doing it. Uh, yeah, Allie, I think I'm gonna try that in my winter sowing, that and spinach, and I might even just put them in the bed that I want them to grow in and put the top of the jug over the top of them and let them kind of get, going in place. And maybe I can actually get a harvest because arugula is one of my absolute favorite greens. And I find it really hard to grow because you got to get that window just right or that baby's going to bolt. Okay. So Major Dog saying his only, or her, sorry, only cauliflower was the size of a golf ball. But was it good? That's really the question. Was it tasty? Let's see what Joy is saying. We might be able to overwinter more and more plants. No kidding. Yeah, which is nice, but in the whole scheme of things, I don't know that it's nice, right? It's one of those, okay, here's an upside to this, but is it really an upside? I don't know. Yeah, but I agree. I feel like although apparently Walla Walla onions were supposedly I could overwinter those for some time. I didn't realize that. So I guess I gave up thinking about it because I never could overwinter really much of anything. Maybe a perennial. I mean, that's about it. Perennials would overwinter, obviously. But yeah. So I will take that Joy as a positive reflection. uh, okay. Oh, thank you, Stephen. We have Katerina cabbage. F1 45 days Green Express cabbage seeds. Wow. Now that I could do because I could keep anything covered for 45 days, right? I mean, I don't like hoops all over my garden, and in my garden tour, which I think will be out tomorrow, I'm going to get my sons out. I think later today. I had him do a garden tour on the day of the wedding, and he knows nothing about gardening. I just thought it'd be kind of funny, and it is. He's he has a very dry humor, so I might have to. I think I'm going to put some comments over the top that will hopefully get everybody understanding what he's trying to talk about. Anyway, that's probably going to go out before my garden tour, which needs a little more editing. But there was something. Oh, and in it, my peppers are covered. So I just want to say the covers coming off. It was just to give them a good start. They're starting to flower, so it's time for them to deal with the reality of living out in the real world. The bunnies were just running havoc, so I wanted to give them a little bit of a better shot. But I know they have to be uncovered so they can get pollinated, or I'll end up with beautiful big plants and not a darn pepper on them. Uh, yeah. Okay, Mel. Oh, oh, there we go. Okay, I am working diligently on my website, which was, going to be a place where those kind of recipes were. And I realized that tomatoes are like one of the big ones. So I am currently working on getting those up, making sure that I have listed the ingredients as correctly as I can. And because I'm not really a professional recipe writer, and a lot of times I just throw something in. Well, you kind of need to have a measurement, right? If you're following it. So, uh, yeah, so I am working on that. So hopefully by tomato canning season, those will be up. And yeah. Hello, Lisa. Good to see you. Oh, and Siggy's reminding that to not forget the green tomato chutney at the end of the season. I have never made green tomato chutney. So, if anything, I've usually made salsa verde out of them, but it's just not the same as using a tomatillo. So, maybe that's something I need to try. Um, yeah. Okay. Laura's confirming that that's a great idea to put that on cheese. Lovely. Oh, and Allie, I appreciate you not giving up after all that blight that you're dealing with. Um, but she sown carrots today. So hopefully my carrots that were sown just last week and yours will do well. And tomato, carrot, or excuse me, my goodness, Christmas potatoes are going in. And yeah, I like that you just kind of brush off the bad stuff and move forward. Uh, Gosh, you guys, I love it. You're very chatty today. Love it. Oh, and Pammy is saying that early nuts carrots will be great for Christmas. So when do you plant those? I guess you can leave them in obviously way longer than we can because our soil is frozen by Christmas. Um, but I might have some that are either canned up or frozen by then. Uh, well, so glad to see you here, Sheila. Please come back. We're here every week, same time, same place. Uh, wow, look at this. What is with my mouse? Okay, we have Mel. I believe this is what you're growing for your fall. Uh, Turnips, fennel, chard, spinach, beans, cabbage, lettuce things like tatsoi, bok choy, kailan, and spring onions. Yum. Now where are you? No, I'm just kidding. When do I get to come over? Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, I realize I really haven't planted any spring onions. and I realized we're trying an experiment. I planted some regular onions super late, like right before the wedding, so mid-July, and I think if anything, I'll just get nice spring onions from them. So, that's what I'm at least hoping for that out of that try. I hate throwing any viable plant out. I am a horrible I'm getting a little bit better at it, but if these plants have survived and their whole role in their life cycle is to grow, I just don't wanna throw them out if they're still good. Um, so I planted them, and I think because of the bulbing, mechanism that they go by, I don't think growing them into the end of the year is gonna be helpful. Uh, yes, I don't, but I'm hoping I'll get some, spring onions out of the deal. Oh, look at this. Jersey Dave is, also that I'm absolutely right that red cabbage and radicchio never seem to attract cabbage whites. Yes, awesome. Oh, because 'cause I'm like, "Am I crazy?" They just don't seem to get it like the other ones will just get hammered. Uh, wow. I think pigeons are just greedy. Would that be a good statement? Because it just seems like they'll peck anything to death. We're not really bothered by pigeons here, even though I'm close to, a strip that has a lot of restaurants on it, and, that's where pigeons here seem to hang around because 'cause they're looking for whatever food scraps, don't make it into the dumpsters, right? Um, but yeah, no, I don't think they would be either. I really just think they're greedy birds. How's everyone's chili plants going? I'm in the southeast coast of Northumberland, and I'm only getting chilies forming now in my west-facing conservatory. My Scotch Bonnets excel. Nice. Uh, Mine are starting to put on some fruit, but I don't know. I think you're looking for people, more in the southeast coast of where you are to see how theirs are going. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna end up with some peppers, and based on the size of them going in, I was not very confident of that. Uh, yeah. Let me see what we got. Oh my goodness, I want you to know after these lives are over, I do go back and read. Oh my goodness, I do go back and read everything. But for some reason my chat is not like auto populating, so I'm having to scroll down myself. So I'm sure I've missed a lot, but I go back and read every comment. Okay, Pammy threw I threw 40 healthy tomato plants out back in April. I've tried giving them away, but compost is too expensive to give away. Well, you've got to, figure out, like, an economic way to share them, right? Uh, yeah. And Joy is saying that I think low sulfur is the cause for my poor brassicas and onions. That's my experiment for the coming seasons. Have you ever had a soil test, Joy? I after all these years of gardening, I had my first soil test last year, and it kind of showed me what microclimate, not what micronutrients, what big NPK I needed to add on, and it was very helpful. And although things have gotten off to a really slow start this year, um, I think they're doing quite well. Uh, wow. I'm always intrigued by the peppers. My chilies and peppers are slow as well, but I grow them in pots outside. Got no greenhouse or poly, which I think for those um, in those more temperate climates can be challenging because you really want to kick up the heat a little bit. Um, okay, we have some rule breakers here, and I need to come back and find out what you're rule breaking about. But I kind of like rule breakers. You know, sometimes we just got to go out our own door, don't we? And now this one's what is okay. I'm just going to have to read it because it's not putting it up on the screen. Oh my goodness. So sorry. I am yeah, it's moving past me. Oh, here we go. At at Robin Gardens. This is Chris. Let's break the rules and see what happens with some plants. Now, I probably have to go back and find Robin's comment to know what that's about, but I'm all about that. Break some rules. Go for it. Go for it. You know, we're gardening here. This is not brain surgery. And so I say you break a rule or two, that's totally fine. Because chances are you're there you go. Steven's got it right. Most rules are just suggestions. And the ones that I don't particularly like, I always say, well, that was more of a suggestion than a rule. Uh, words to live by, right there. Quote Steven, anytime you want to break a rule. Hey, we're over an hour. I can't believe how fast these go. Uh, but always so lovely to see you people. I don't even want to call you people. Like you're my gardening friends. Always lovely to hang out with you, to have a little garden chat, to maybe get ourselves motivated to go back and do it again for the next week. Uh, but anywhere, I enjoy you all so much, and I hope you have a great week, both in your garden and just in your life in general. And we'll be back next week, 2 p.m. Robin is on next week from Robin Gardens, and Steve at Digwell Green Fingers will be on. So that will be a fun chat. And guess what we're not talking about? Bugs or diseases. It's going to be a happy chat. We're not going to talk about any of those little ooky things. We're going to be talking about flowers and harvest and plant life and exciting things like that. So, anyway, we'll see you next week. Again, have a great week. And yeah, long sign off. Okay. Bye now.